was totally unscripted. So you asked me a question, and I'm answering the question on the top of my head. I didn't come in with a prepared statement saying, okay, here's my answer. I'm thinking as we go on. You're throwing new information at me. I'm absorbing the information. I'm trying to make it make sense, and we're having a spontaneous conversation. And when these happen, anybody who gets it 100% right is not human. You're sitting there saying you may not have all the data, you may have forgotten some data, and you say things. So if this was truly spontaneous for Lindsey Graham, I'd say, well, let's cut him a little bit of slack because, he's just, no, these are scripted events, which makes how wrong he is even worse because he's now saying things that are deliberately being said for posterity. Deliberately being it's scripted so that he looks like he is God's gift to American leadership and that he is the man behind this. He is the thinker. He is the brilliant brain. And it just shows how wrong Lindsey Graham was. How utterly wrong he was.
Guys, this is fantastic. I bought one and got one free. This buy one, get one offer is really amazing.
No more constantly switching glasses. A single pair addresses various vision issues, including presbyopia, myopia, and astigmatism, all at once. A masterpiece of precision optics.
Yeah.
I have something to tell you.
Well,
Bodies lying in the street. Yeah. From the silence, unmarked graves are crying out for peace. Whoa. If I turn my back and walk away, say that's not me, so I'm okay. I fail, 'cause it goes on and on again. But if I love you like I do me, and if I treat you like I treat me, oh, this would be all. I see you are me and I am you. One blood spirit, one world we live in, and we could be the change we need. If I love you like I love me, and if I treat you like I treat me, oh, this would be all world. When I see if I love you, the way I love me, and if I treat you like I treat me,
Greetings, Gary.
yeah, my brother, what I said.
Big up yourself, big general. You know,
Same
so,
to you, man. Same to you.
and then me there I take on our next little topic here, you know.
Yeah, necessary, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one. So me just start and they go and look through the thing and familiarize myself, you know.
You gotta talk about hopefully, regulate the life.
Yeah, one. Okay. It's a thing where true, me not really new to it, you know, but it's not a thing where me familiar with, cause me not really dip on it every day, you know.
I know, because you work at that kind of what deter me from going live, you know. It's like, just if you take the time to I'm never gonna like it, well, when you try it one time, but, you have to take a little bit of time to kind of go through it and figure out how to make certain like features available. And I think certain features like that is dependent on how much hours you write the person.
Oh.
And you end up on it going over, I say,
Yeah, them there go and go through it and I try figure it out at the same time. Cause over the time in general I've seen things that become an issue when need to be said, and the platform them that oftentimes carry similar subjects or topics, sometimes them divert into misgivings, you know. So the information is not coming out straight. So
It's like basically them know. It's like them just kind of like kind of when them say glass over the thing, they don't really like.
yeah, them
When you get to a full enough understanding of what and it's what the solution is.
yeah, and how we can literally take on the task, plague the black nation, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And even who take back this one just like dive right in the question and say why black man abuse black woman and we despise them, you know.
Yeah.
And as you said, the root of the thing is psychological trauma. It's psychology for me. You know, my dealing,
Mm-hmm.
it is more complex than just saying that this is somebody with
Yeah.
because now you have economics where play a role in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have the ego when become a part of it. You know what I mean? You have a dynamic here, right? Where people have to exercise more over who them can. You see what I mean? And control and things. So when it comes to like why black man abuse black man, you know, is because like, what I said, right? Like when you look out in the world, right, and as a man, right,
Now
you have to
listen.
look at your say, well, you know, white man control more of the structure of how society set up
Mm-hmm.
than black. See me? So the structure that we have is our home and our personal relations and them kind of thing, right? So if we don't psychologically ground it, you know what I mean, circumstances that lead to situations where abuse have to take place,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
So me wouldn't say that we despise them. I wouldn't say that because, you know, if we did despise them truly, then we would not engage with them. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I feel as if say there's a lack of true understanding where you know we need each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black man and black woman need each other. You know, that we you know basically bring forward the reality. And we would have said the future generation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an understanding that I get to your point there, is the root of the thing that I say is psychological, right? The dynamics of our relations, our relationship, or how we relate to each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? It shifts because who that goes far as we say right now, so that our relationships, our community engagement, and so on and so forth. We have to watch it from a European perspective, right? When we did already, we had govern ourselves in a social.
Mm-hmm. Break up a little bit. Oh, okay. Hey, before you go any further, oh, I drive. More read one little thing at you. And it's a historical baseline. as to the diminishing factor of what goes on in the black family structure. So prior to mid 20th century, the black nuclear family was highly resilient. Sociologically, data shows that from the late 19th century until roughly 1960, the vast majority of black children were born into two-parent households. Despite the horrors of Jim Crow, institutional terror, and systemic poverty, the marriage rate among black Americans match or sometimes exceed those of white Americans. The families serve as an economic and physical shield against a hostile outside world. Now, listen what I'm saying. The family structure serve as an economic and physical shield against a hostile outside world. So, in the midst of all oppression in the Jim Crow era, the black family structure was rising exponentially and it was growing in a positive manner. So, now we have in modern times now, come forward from the 60s, we have children that is growing up in single family household. And studies have also shown that children growing up in single family household have more obstacles to overcome than those with a married family household. And from those obstacles, one of those obstacles is frustration, insanity, mental degradation, mental manipulation, that now the mother that is taking on the father's role have to teach this boy how to become a man. And you know, I'm going to say it is very impossible. It's not impossible. It is possible. So but it's very difficult for a mother to teach masculinity. And it shows that even if an athlete, say a child that is raised by a single mother, became successful, that plies a talent or maybe find his way through the universities and become one of the upper echelon in society, the femininity is a hundredfold in him, and any masculinity that he foster, he have to learn on his own as he goes on a day-to-day basis. Now, if they don't learn to balance the nurturing way of emotions and femininity, it will overpower their masculinity, and henceforth they attack this world or face this world with it like there's a chip on the shoulder. And I say all that to say this, my brother, is out of frustration, single mothers raise their children or raise their boys that ultimately become men that turns around and disrespect and despise and abuse black women. Am I? Oh shoot! You jump off, Jack. The vibes, the virgin jump off. Yo, hey, look, yo, you listen to me? All right, in there, connection, but my general. But to continue, we're living in a time where we find every time we go out in the wider space of the world, we're seeing where it's in our music, it's in our television, TV shows, it's in our movies, where our princesses that would be queens are labeled as bitches, hoes, sluts, chicken heads, and all these type of languages that they use to create a violent scenario or in the mental capacity of a female, verbal violence. And this ultimately causes females to treat males in a way that mothers are handing it down to sons, and sons are returning it back to would be wives. So it's our children and the way we raise the children that ultimately shows the background of our plight in the black family. So you think about what I say, Ja? Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, break up. Look like yeah, drive through some terrains there where it connection is kind of bad. But until me catch you back on a level balancing frequency, I will just go through go through these things that we may dig up here upon the internet, and it goes on to say that roughly 70% of black children are born to unmarried mothers. This compares to approximately 28% of white children and 52% of Hispanics. So it's the black and the brown that are plagued with high percentage of single family home. Children that are born to unmarried mothers, 70% in the black community and 52% in the Hispanics, while the white is only 28%. That's a huge difference. Because a single parent household, over 60% of black children grew up in single parent household, the vast majority of which are headed by single mothers. Black Americans have the lowest marriage rates of any major racial demographic in the United States. Furthermore, according to the Pew Research Center, roughly half of black adults have never been married. So the business of home economics, and then studies that have shown that the married family grow exponentially, you know, financially faster than a single family also, because there's, even if it's one income that's coming into that family that is married, it stretches further in some way, shape, or form. There is certain criteria of home economics that is delivered to a married family. It's also delivered to a single family, but because of time and strain, the single family doesn't adapt to the basics of home economics. Because just imagine a mom working two jobs. Let's put it at two, because some mom work three jobs. Two jobs just to get her bills paid, make sure the kids have food to eat, and so on and so forth. The mom oftentimes don't have the time to spare to ensure that the child is being brought up in moral standard and not in moral turpitudes. So we find that cartoons and YouTube television in our modern days are raising the kids. Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat are raising the kids. And the influence outside the household is vast and comes to you at the speed of light. So even if you're a single mom, is trying her best to mold you in an upright way of thinking or in a positive with gratitude. The influence that's outside is so much more. Not to mention the peer pressure influence, peer to peer, teen to teen. You know what I mean? The I dare you scenarios. And then not to even mention the one strike because you're black instances where in the black household, the child has been told that he's the man of the house. The child has been told they have placed this burden of trust upon this kid. A child that is thinking about what time is the next game? When am I going to get on the soccer team? When am I going to get on the basketball team? Is now burdened with being the head of the household, the man of the house. So instead of a child being in a child's place, he's been thrust into an adult position. Now he has to, a child thinking like a man. And it so happened that when he becomes a man, he wants to be a child because he didn't have a childhood. So all these frustration that a black kid face could bear resentment. Now one of our most glorious sector of music, hip hop, has turned from a positive force of inspiration to know what we have now, materialistic, vanity-stricken, degrading entity. And because that is what is being used to highlight the accolade of overcome our sense of belonging. Because in these modern days, we use material things and vanity to grade our status in life. So to achieve materialistic things or to obtain vanity, the kids find themselves prostituting themselves, gang banging themselves out, doing all manner of evil, alcoholism, drug use and abuse, vaping, and all these things compound with what they're trying to run away from that has transcended through the history of time. It breeds a level of frustration in our youths that cause them to rebel. And if they're rebelling against the system, they're told to be quiet. They're told to mind their business. They're told to stay out of trouble. And the voice that is telling them that oftentimes is the single mom. And it breeds resentment and rejection. And she's not doing it because she don't want him to excel. She don't want him to be brave. She's doing it because that's the only way her mind knows how to protect her child. That's the only way she knows how to protect her child. So oftentimes we find black mothers dropping a dime or even telling on black sons, out of fear because she thinks she's protecting him. She thinks she's protecting him. And all this stemmed from one little session on the banks of the Mississippi River in the 1712s. One little evil slave driver from the West Indies, William Arrington, we know him as Willie Lynch. He came with specific scientific formulas that was proven, enacted, and proven of how to turn the black women against the black men, turn the black men against the black women, turn mothers against sons, and turn fathers and sons against each other. And this sorcery, this programming, this trickery works even today because the root cause of the formula have not changed. They just changed the way they administered it. The divide and conquer rule have not changed. The formula has not changed. They just changed the way it appears. And our youths are being plagued with instances of abuse, rejection, frustration, discrimination. But there's a voice telling them, hold on, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. So the anger that's bottled up in our youths can lead them to such of outbursts because they need to release their anger out in something or someone. And for some strange reason, due to decades of manipulation and instigation, they found it easier to unleash that anger and that frustration out on the very same woman that he would run to for comfort. The very same woman that a black man will run to a black woman for comfort, for tenderness, for TLC, for information, for encouragement, for strength. Because only the black woman has the power to reconstitute a man. The black man find himself abusing the black woman. The same woman that he wants to run to for comfort. He find himself abusing her, rejecting her, despising her. How did we get here? How did we get here? It's time to change the thinking process, the mindset, and the narrative. And in order for us to change this narrative that we're seeing on a daily basis, that is being represented in our art, in our music, in our style, in order to change it, we have to go to the root cause of it. And yes, I know some toes are going to be stepped on as we grow and understand these scenarios of what we're doing. People are going to feel hurt. And some people are going to be failed. Some people are going to not want to touch this topic. It's going to be like a taboo because no one wants to learn of their weaknesses. But we're living in a time of information. We're living in a time where only information can educate us. And if the information is out there, we have to find it, distribute it, so we can fix our issues. We can't wait for people to clean our system and sell it back to us while they own and monetizing our system. For years, they have been monetizing black struggles, black pain, black suffering. It's about time it stops. And the only way to stop it is to talk about the issue that plagued us. And if we can't talk about the issue that plague us, we will never fix our problems. It's simple. We will never fix our problems. It's like the singer is saying, separation is the root of the black family structure problem. Men know if you hurt the black princesses and the black queen, you're hurting yourself. And if the black princesses and the black queens hurt the black prince and the black kings, she's hurting herself. We've tried separation, we've tried hate, we've tried despise, we've tried interracial mingling, we've tried it all, and none fixes our problems. So let's try togetherness, oneness, unity, unity. Let's try the word love, put it in action, and move it forward in motion. And every time someone display genuine love, it is rooted in respect. It is rooted in honor. It is rooted in gratitude. So there is no love that is true without these four things: gratitude, honor, respect. It has to have that. It has to have oneness. It has to be directed by the infinite intelligence. It has to be aligned with moral compasses. And since we're living in an era where single black moms are taking on the role of mother and father, it is high times single black women obtain the information that is out there of what is causing the destruction in the black foundation. The you see, the profound use of words like bitch and oh, and now we find ourselves, that oh over there they call that fat. That serves to categorize the black woman strictly by their perceived sexual availability or transactional value. So if we look at the mother of our children, the woman that holds our futuristic bloodline to bear, and we only look at her as a transactional value, we only look at her based upon her sexual availability. If we only see value in the sexploitation of our women, of our daughters, of our mothers, of our sisters, our aunts, our female cousins, if we only see value within the sexploitation of our own purpose, our core purpose, if we only see value based upon the sexual availability, I'm here to tell you that we're doomed. We're heading nowhere fast. This aspect normalizes the abuse that our black women faces at the hands of black men. Too many times, even in the black plantation movies, we see it as comedy, but as art mimics real life scenarios and situation, it is no comic strip. It's about time we stop laughing. Our black woman is left unprotected, unloved, and uncared for when we have successful black athletes looking straight in the camera and saying this: we have no use for black women. They look dead in the camera saying, we have no use for black women. Raised by a black woman. Raised by a black woman. And they are raised in such a way that they reject those sentiments of how they were raised, the root that they come from. They reject it. See, yes, I was a part of the folly too, going around womanizing, clubbing, getting as much females as you possibly can. Awaken a woman's love without the intention of loving her back. Man that does that is the weakest being on planet Earth. The weakest being on planet Earth. Anybody have any input towards this anywhere? Why does black men abuse black women? What is the root cause of this sinful act? What is the cause of the violence perpetrated by black men upon a single black woman? What causes the resentment and the rejection? What is the mitigating factor in the use of the B word to describe our princesses, our sisters, our queens, and our mothers, our aunts, our female cousins? Do we know the effect of such verbal violence? It is such a traumatic experiences that now the female gravitate to being identified as the B, as the H, as the chicken head, that they start calling themselves, greeting each other with these words. So it's find its way in our everyday livity. It is now a normal occurrences in the household. And these happening continue to chisel away at what little foundational structure the black nation has. And if we don't come away from those abusive agendas and non-entities, we will continue to be deteriorating in such a fast pace that we won't be able to contain it. Won't be able to contain it. There's so much data out there that shows from from Wappy kill Philip until now, every single bill, every single action that the elites or the neo-colonization colonizers have enacted that made it way into our everyday law is them targeting the black family structure. %40 of black women experience physical intimate partner violence in their lifetime. 40%, compared to 31.5% of women overall. So overall, violence against women, black women, face 40% of them. 40%. Black women are 2.5 times more likely to be murdered by men than white women. 92% of the time, when a black woman is unalive, the perpetrator is somebody that she knows, whether intimately or formally, socially, but it's somebody that she knows. So why are we not protecting our women? The Hispanic protect their women, the European protect their women, the Arab protect their women, the Muslims protect their women, the Indian protect their women, the Chinese protect their women, the Vietcongs, the Vietnamese, the Koreans, every nation protect their women, but the black nation. Psychological and verbal abuse, 40% of black women experience. Physical, compared to that, 31.5% overall. 53.8% of black women report experiencing severe psychological abuse. This includes chronic gaslighting, public humiliation, and verbal denigration. And these actions weaponizes racial stereotypes against us, against the black woman. And then they label them when they lash out. When they get frustrated and upset, they label our women hard to deal with, aggressive, and undesirable. I don't even want to touch spiritual abuse. I don't even want to touch spiritual abuse because they have already stripped us of our spirituality and gave us religion, teaching us to look for a God outside of us. When we already have dominion over all things. But I still want all my black princesses, black queens, empresses, warrior queens, just to know that to me, you guys are precious. There is no other woman on planet Earth that has been through the traumatic experiences that the black woman has been through. There is no other woman on planet Earth, day in, day out, night, morning, dusk, dawn, has to build up the courage and the spirit and the strength to continuously overcome than the black woman. It is such a despicable in scenarios that when Obama signed into law equal pay for equal job, they find ways to take it away from the intended targets and abuse the system. Because equal pay for equal job was supposed to level the playing field for hard-working, talented black women and Hispanic women. Yeah, go ahead, my brother. There was a thing that they call a man in the house rule that they used to target the black family structure. Once you file for government aid or assistance, they telling you the father cannot be in the house. Father's got to pack up and go. If you want this assistance that the government is going to give to you so you can pay your bills and take care of your kids, your husband's got to leave. So make that sink in now. Now. Before I can get assistance for my kids and take care of my household because my husband is not making enough money, I have to put him out. That's what they told these women. Oftentimes, it is an agree upon topic that the husband and the wife will agree that the husband will go live somewhere temporarily so that she can get the assistant to pay the bills. Because the husband is out there busting his ass, working his fingers to the bone, being underpaid, being discriminated against, being held back because he's black, working longer hours for less money just to maintain, keep a roof over his children's head. He took that money home, handed it to his wife, and she runs the home economics. She run the business aspect of the home, but it was never enough. So here comes the angels. Oh, we got government assistance for you, help you pay your bills. Make sure the kids are fed. Nice, comfortable bed, warm. But in order for you to be qualified, you got to get rid of your husband. And there, my friend, is one of the points, one of the root cause of the beginning, the destruction of the black family structure. So-called government assistance starts to erode the meaning of black love, start to corrupt the foundational structure of the black family. So-called government assistance. Even right now, today, you go out there in the working world, you see the abuse that is being taking place. Some may stand up and speak up, and most turn a blind eye. Because we find ourselves going through and through the trajectory of time where the attack begins within the black family structure. And over time, as soon as we find ourselves back in alignment, something new come up. And we find the black woman gravitate into these destructive behaviors. And children live what they learn. Because if the father is not in the house no more, who is going to teach this boy how to become a man? Yes, the mother can teach him how to nurture and how to love, how to stand upright. But who's going to teach him strength? Who is going to teach him morals? So these kids go out in the world loaded with emotions, masking femininity, looking masculine. Why looking masculine? Not blaming the black woman for the plight of the black family structure. Willie Lynch is the demon behind that. In modern era, Willie Lynch, William Arrington, otherwise known as Willie Lynch, he's the demon that calculated that formula and dish it out to people across the Americas, and they keep using it even till today. They use it in the businesses. They use it in the black family to destroy the continuously destroying the black foundation. Let us look for a second at the effects of slavery on the minds of black people. Psychologists point to a phenomenon known as post traumatic slave syndrome. Post traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS. Enslaved people endure hundreds of years of continuous state sanctioned terror designed specifically to break the human psyche. Under this system, absolute obedience was enforced through extreme violence, stripping individuals of their original African identities, languages, and cultures. So, if the government orchestrate this phenomenon of stripping black people of their languages, their heritage, their culture, and their identities. So while we're struggling to find back ourselves, to reclaim our identification, they're compounding our struggles with ignorances, segregation, oppression, manipulation, drug epidemic, alcoholism, prostitution, all these things they throwing at us while we're still trying to regain our purpose, our identification. These are the things that they're doing to the black nation. And then it is so well programmed that we find ourselves doing it to ourselves. When a population is systemically denied humanity, the trauma alters behavioral patterns. This historical trauma often manifests in contemporary communities as the heightened defense mechanism, internalized racism, and profound difficulty in building institutional trust. So now the black woman don't trust the black man don't trust the black woman. And the banks of the Mississippi River, one of the tools that Willie Lynch pulled out of his bag was a formula to plant a seed of distrust between the mother and the children and the father. That was one of the tools they used that they continue to use today. They continue to use these tools today. The black woman has been through so much, is going through so much. And out of frustration as a wall of defense, they took on the role in life, or they played the cards that they have been dealt. Yes, I'm agreeing and admitting that there are single black women out there that raise their children in a deplorable way. And it's too much. It's too much. It's enough for us to have a conversation because the way these kids are raised contribute to the destructive patterns in the black nation. Children live what they learn what they live. So when a son comes up to be a man, go out in the world and look at a daughter that grew up to be a woman out in the world and refer to her as a dog, a female dog that they raise only for mating and bearing children. If we don't change that concept and that way of thinking, that mindset, the black nation will slowly be eradicated and be replaced with interracials, our biracial kids, our biracial family, if we don't change this mindset and the way how we addresses our women. Standing at your door. Black woman and child. You know, we could talk about black love from here until eternity. But if we don't put in the action and take out the deteriorating factors, we will never grow and build a foundational structure stronger than what it was before. This isn't to this isn't to bash anyone. This isn't to blame anyone within the black nation. But we need to strip away the filter. We need to look at the painful paradox in our community. How did we go from a foundation built on the ultimate protection, love of the black woman, to a reality where black women are experiencing the most disproportionate trauma, levels of emotional, psychological, and physical abuse coming from a black man, coming from a black man that was raised by a black woman. So we have to look at these instances as an autopsy, a systemic crisis. Because the way the black boys are treating the black girls is despicable, it's deplorable. How can I raise my daughter to be upstanding citizen of this world and to go into the future and make changes for the greater good, and stood aside watch a black boy calling her the most degrading names on planet Earth? That should not be allowed to stand. Should not be. We can't allow these things to continuously passing by as if it is a normal day. It continues to degrade and break the black foundation. It continues to separate the spiritual energy of oneness and love and prosperity. This way, we continuously losing gratitude. And once you lost gratitude, you've lost all morals. So if we are ready for a real deep and art-centered conversation, drop a 1 in the comment section, please. because we have to take on these issues. These issues need to be highlighted. And the information is out there, and we can only get better with information. That's how we educate ourselves, with information. And change is the constant in life, the only constant in life. So when these given information, if we don't enact it and adapt it and change the way we look at our everyday life and our politics, we will never be able to rebuild our communities. We will never be able to rebuild our communities with our current mindset. So let's look at foundation historical love versus modern frustration. Black love was our ultimate weapon. Black love that generates such great black power was our ultimate weapon of resistance. During slavery, during Jim Crow, the black man and the black woman were unified. Oneness, one order, one aim. The love for the black woman wasn't just romantic. It was a sanctuary. The black man fought, bled, died to protect her honor. I repeat it again. The black man fought, bled, and died to protect the honor of the black woman, her honor. So the next time you go and stand up in front of a judge and you hear the word her honor, in these days we say your honor. It's the concept of the black woman. Her honor was dignifying. Her honor illuminate the pathway for the man to walk in bright light. It was within the black man to provide and protect. Because the black woman is the literal womb of a nation. Without the black woman, we have no nation. So how the hell we find ourselves in the position as a black man to disrespect, despise, reject, and disregard the sentiment of a black woman? So what have changed? What changed? Why black men treat black women the way that we do? What have changed? Because things should have been getting better. We transitioned into society where systemic oppression shifted from overt physical chains. But now it's a covert psychological warfare. Let me tell you what I say. The formula or the tools that Willie Lynch gave in 1712 is still updated, upgraded, repurposed, still being used today. It's still being used today. And if we don't visit the root cause of the trauma, we will not get the medicine to remedy the situation. Because any illnesses, you need to find the root cause of it if you need to cure the illnesses. Slavery and Jim Crow laws and rules and regulation break the strength of the black man. Willie Lynch tools of making a slave break the strength of the black man. Why did I say that? Because he went straight to the order of the passage of life. He went straight to the black woman and manipulate her, reprogram her emotions, reprogram her way of thoughts, her mindset. And those reprogramming find its way into our youths and transcend through the passage of time. And now it has been flipped where we find the youths rejecting that type of programming, those sentiments, rejecting those things. Now find themselves at odds with the very same women that raised them, the black women. So we have to find ways to console and comfort the black women, to repurpose the black women. Because without the black woman, there's no wind beneath the black man's wing. Without the black woman, there's no aligning with the rhythmic energy of Mother Earth. Because every walk the black woman walk, you see the frequency of Mother Earth speaking. But she's the one that is faced with the most traumatic experiences on planet Earth. The woman that is supposed to be protected the most, faced the most abused and the most rejection. I'm just reading some comments here, folks. Yes, Brian. I'm gonna repeat some of these comments as I go through them and see them. I just saw one from Brian that says we need to come together and show more love and don't be ashamed of who we are. That is so true. That is so true. I work in a company that employed a lot of Afghanistani people. A lot of Afghanistani people. And being the flirtatious person that I am, I flirt with the women a lot. And they laugh and they joke and, sometimes they even mediocrely flirt back. One day, one female pulled me to the side one morning and she said, Eric G, when we by ourselves, hugging and touching is okay. But when we in public, not okay, we're Muslims. That very same day, I'm friends with this guy until today because we laugh and talk every day. He came to me and he said, Ricky G, touching no good. Muslim no, touching no good. And I'm just paraphrasing how they say it because of the English barrier. I walked up to a sister that I saw was flirting with the Arab men, and I said to her, you know that they told me that I mustn't touch their woman, right? And she asked me, why the hell am I telling her? She asked me, why am I telling her? The reason why I told her is because the fact that the Muslim women respect their men, even if they don't know them. Even if they don't know them, they respect their men. So it is easy for the men to protect them. It is easy for the men to protect them. So they walk in the light of gratitude, knowing that they're protected. In our modern day era, a mindset of independent, I'm a strong independent woman, stripped away would be protection for that woman. I'm not knocking the fact that she's strong. She goes out and she's a go-getter. She get her own, she pay her own bill. But the mindset of I don't need a man to validate me as a strong, independent black woman, strip away the protection that the black man will render to the black woman. Because oftentimes I've seen black women in the workplace being mentally abused, being verbally abused, and everyone turned a blind eye. I fought the causes that I can fight. But if at times you bring it to them and said, you're being abused and I don't like it, she will go and telling you. She don't want you to save her. So the black woman resents the black man for rejecting her. The black women raise the black men with resentment that in turn causes the black men to reject the black woman. The furthest they go into ensure that the black woman has no protection from the black man was when they stripped the black man of his power outside his own home in front of his kids. Oh, oftentimes back in those days, even today, a black man is just coming from work trying to get home, and right as he get to his gate, the cops pounce upon him and beat him down. because he's a black man. He's a strong black man. Stripped him of his powers, but breaking in a new image. The same routine, the same formula, the same tool, just have a new face. But breaking. And simultaneously, while they're stripping the black man of his power in front of his house, they're telling the black woman that he can't protect you. They're telling the black woman that you should reject him. And this is the trauma that reprogrammed the mindset of the black woman. That led the black woman to raise the black son in such a way that when he becomes a black man, he rejects black women. See that unresolved trauma and frustration get misdirected. The sanctuary becomes the battlefield. The woman that he runs to for TLC and comfort, the woman that he runs to for strength, for inspiration, becomes the enemy. The black woman who was once the person he protected from the world and its misgiving, unfortunately have become the person he took his worldly frustration out on. The black nuclear family in the 60s was strong and foundational, was setting a precedent for exponential growth until they come with their so-called government assistance. I'm not even crossing over to the epidemic of doping, drug addiction, alcoholism. I'm not even crossing over into that. The destruction of the black family that was structured around policies like man in the house. This is the rules that in the mid-20th century explicitly forced black fathers out of the home in order for family to receive any type of welfare. That government welfare create a generation of broken family within the black family structure. So now we start to see homes without generation of visual blueprint of any type of healthy functional male to female partnership. Boy, the domino effect what this scenario creates. See, they put these things through a think camp, through a laboratory process, and they formularize it down to the letter, and then them implement it. And at first, it doesn't look like it's effective. But over time, when them implement this sector and get it going, then them come over here so and implement Planned Parenthood, and then they use the pastors to preach these things to the so-called Christians. So now the black woman is walking around with the weight of the world on her shoulders. She was forced to become both the provider, the nurturer, and the protector. And this birthed toxic black woman. The toxic black woman narrative word where she is now expected to observe infinite pain without complaining, continuously have to overcome while holding the order and be silent doing it, being the blunt of their abuse while holding the order because she knows she have mouth to feed, she have children to protect and care for. And because she and the husband, or she and the baby's common law husband, agree that they're going to live separate in order for her to gain the assistance from the so-called government at the time that she need to keep the roof over their head. The father walked out, gone to live on his own because he have to live somewhere. So the little bit of money that he's working now have to pay 2 rent or to buy 2 sets of grocery. Over time, that dwindles down. That 3-day-a-week visitation became 2. Then it became 1. Then it became none. Over time, distance forgets us all. Now the man starts a new family. The wife is now seeing somebody else. The children are living and learning these things. A newsflash for those mothers that wants to take the father to child support. Some fathers are deadbeats. Some fathers need to be charged child support. Some fathers don't even need to be a father at all. And that could include me too. When child support comes out of the paycheck of the father, whatever child support comes out, you don't get it all. The mothers don't get it all. They might get about 3% of whatever was paid in. Because the assistant that you receive, the father has to pay that back. So you found out that agreeing to separate so you can receive assistance wasn't helping, because now the father have to pay that back. And by paying it back, you don't receive it. The government recoup what they have spent. So it not much of a help. Wasn't much of a help. So we find the youths are now growing up in survival modes. When a son is told that he's the man of the house and he's only 6 years old, now he have to carry himself and act as if he's the man of the house. Neglected childhood. He didn't get to formulate childlike memories because he was given a responsibility to be the man of the house. The man of the house protects and provides. So he has to protect and he has to provide this for this house any way you see fit. And there goes the actions of moral turpitudes. Now, not all would-be man of the house carry themselves in a negative way. but the factor that affect the topic at hand is enough for us to talk about it. Our woman is being ostracized. They're being left alone out in the cold, unprotected, without a warm arm wrapped around them, when they're the one that gives the most love, the one that gives the most tenderness and the most nurturing care. And of course, their frustration leaks out from time to time. But what we have to do is come together as a nation, forget our indifferences that is wrapped in materialism and vanity, because that is not the order of the day. All materialism, all vanity comes from Mother Earth. From dust we came, to dust we shall return. So our fight shouldn't be to attain or obtain materialistic things or vanity. Our fight now is to restore the glory of the black woman. Because back in the days, men fight over flag and queen. That's what men goes to war for, flag and queen. And we find ourselves rejecting the womb that holds the future of a nation. Don't forget that they stripped us of our identity, make it illegal where we cannot learn to read or write. But because we're aligned and in tune, in oneness with the universe, we overcome those scenarios and dismantle those useless non-entities. But the fight has just begun, because now we have the information. Knowing what we know now, the effects of the Willie Lynch letter and the tools that he used to break the black family structure apart, that is still being used in today's society. Now we know that everyone is against the black woman. The burden that the black woman bears, the frustration, tells in the way she carry herself and in the way she raised the children. Because those burdens, those frustration, those negative entities infiltrate the psyche of the youths and inoculate their thought process to where now they're repeating the same traumatic abuse that was dealt on them. They're returning it, however misguided or misdirected it might be. So does anyone feel like they're brave enough to come up in the box and speak on this issue? Ringstar, no, I'm in California, not New York. Divide and conquer, Brian, has been their only plan. And within that only plan of divide and conquer, they have subdivision or sublet of agreement. Because the only nation on planet Earth that all other nations unite to fight against is the black nation. They have stolen and taken our identity. Over time, they whipped us dry of our creativity. They break our soul, castrate our goals. Lead us as if we were wild animals, scientifically nurturing the DNA that they splice. Every time they cook up their poison, they bring it to Africa to test it. Every time they cook up their so-called medicine, they want to test it on the black nation. They know that strength of the black man lies within the black woman. So they devise ways and manner of how to cut all ties. They know that our bone is enlightened and grown in gratitude. So they infiltrate our psyche and reprogram our mind to lust and materialism. There are millions of songs out there. Millions of songs out there that sings about the plight of the black nation, sings about the strength of the black woman, sings about the gratitude, the harmony, the smile of the black woman. Because within that painful fight, her smile is warm delight. Within the struggles of time, black woman rhythmic energy will blow your mind. There's no other race on earth that can manage trauma as if it's never there, like the black woman. When a black man operating in an uphill frustration and enter into a relationship, worse if that woman is in a more successful role than he is, materialistically speaking, he often view that black woman independence not as an asset, but as a threat to his fragile masculinity. A lot of black men feel powerless around strong black women. Not to mention the system is giving them a fight, breaking their every attempt of overcoming. Oftentimes, him find himself try to exert absolute power over the black woman, in which a black man don't need to overpower a black woman. You need to harmonize with the black woman. Because every strength where you have as a black man, you get it from the black woman. Because when you lay your head down upon the pillow at night, the sweet motivational prayer that you hear in your dream, and she whisper it in your ears. As she whispering it into your ears. As she give you the strength, the propensity to get up in the morning and go out there again, go fight the demons them out there again so you can come back and provide for the youths them. As she, when you come home, your dinner the pan table in the morning before you go to work, clothes well pressed, thermos in a hand, lunch pan in a bag ready to go. As she warm your soul and drive away your tears, as she reconstitute you. Because every evening when you come in from fighting the outside world and you come in died, she rejuvenate you and bring you back to life. So how come now she become the blunt of your frustration? How come she become your beaten stick? How come now she become the recipient of your platitudes and your verbal abuse? Check the maths kings, check the maths brothers, and see if you can do better. Because it's high time the black woman walk with her head all high and know so she not have to fight no more. Our struggle is over. She's now being protected. She's now being protected. So this now kind of bring us to the detriment of the black nation, or some of the points or some of the mitigating factors why the black nation find themselves in such plight. See, everything that has been done to the black nation was first done to the black woman. The cycle is completely detrimental to the foundational and positive growth of a black nation. A nation can never rise higher than its woman, because without the woman you have no nation. Nation can never rise higher than a woman. Without the woman you have no nation, period. So when we allow culture where black women are abused, neglected, and unprotected by the very men who share their skin tone, we are actively participating in our own cultural genocide. We're participating in our own downfall. So how we are going to fix that? An abused mother raises traumatized kids. So if a mother is being abused by a father, oftentimes the kids will get the blunt of that trauma. Sons watch fathers abuse mothers and learn that power equals dominance. And in a society where violence is prone, we know that the black woman oftentimes face the blunt of such violence. Daughters watch mothers endure abuse and learn that love equals suffering. So the trauma that equate love to suffering is the same trauma that caused the son to abuse the daughter. The same traumatic scenarios that caused the mom to raise the son with a burden of responsibilities that he didn't ask for is the same trauma that caused the son to resent the mom and ultimately reject black woman. So it's a cycle. Wealth cannot be built or sustained in a chaotic, broken household. So by allowing frustration to dictate our actions, we have weaponized ourselves against our own lifelines. We're burning down our own house from the inside out. Let's think about that, Matt. Think about the mathematics of our community's growth. As soon as somebody get a middle class to upper class elevation, they turn their back on the community they come from. So if I obtain information to make me materialistically rich, and I don't share that information with the community in which I've learned it from, so I left that community stagnant. There was no change done to that community. How can we have a black structure and a black foundation under that regime? We can't. We can't have a black foundation or a black structure under that regime. It will never happen. It will never happen. But in the meantime, in between time, well, may I read some comment there, you know? Now, I'm not condoning violence against nobody on the planet Earth. And the percentage of white women that is being abused is 28%. The percentage of black women that's being abused is above 40%. 70% of black women are single, raising kids. 31.5% overall women that's being abused. That is the white, Hispanic, and black. All women that's being abused. It's 31.5%. 40% of women that's being abused is black women. So saying that there's also, a white woman that's being abused. I'm against all abuse towards women. But the topic at hand is pertaining, and I want to uphold it, gearing only towards the black nation. Because the black women's percentage of being abused is much, much higher than it should be and ought to be. %92 of black women that's been abused is by men that they knew, or men that they are entangled with it by somebody that they knows. So women from all demographics are being abused, but it's affecting the black nation more. And that's who I want to talk about. That's what I want to get fixed. The information is out there, people. So we just have to just bring it to ourselves. And I'm tasked with delivering this message. And so I'm trying my endeavor best to bring it across and bring awareness to this, because this is it's a statistic. These things are being documented. The trajectory of the black foundational family structure has been recorded. The deterioration has been recorded. So it's a scientific research that they're doing. They're researching these things. They're watching it. But in doing so, they're also adding other demographic, other racial backgrounds. So more information are being handed out. Because it's only a pain when the black woman cries out, right? But the thing is, the black woman is not allowed to cry. She's not allowed to cry out because she consistently have to keep overcoming. She have to overcome the pain of being alive. She have to overcome the struggles of being a mom. She have to overcome the strife of raising children. She have to overcome the zones that she embark upon in this life. The put downs, the platitudes, the hatred, the mystery being spread, the propagandas. She have to overcome it all. And she still smiled bright like the sunrise. I give love to ones that stop in and check out the thing. Appreciate it all. Time has come. I must vacate this little area and Go do some real work. Big up on yourself, you know. Blessings.